Hello, how's it going? We are going to talk a little bit about Obsidian and getting that set up on omarchy today. Um, yeah, I have, man, it was probably 2 years ago that I set up my current Astro site at chan.dev. And one of my goals was to be able to utilize Obsidian or some like second brain style writing tool, something that kind of like does a better job of visualizing markdown files as like a front end. I didn't ever really get in the pattern of doing that, but I figured since Obsidian is installed uh, on omarchy by default, I got my repository cloned, and we can see if if I could actually build a habit around that now. So that's the goal. Today we're just gonna look at omarchy and the Obsidian setup that exists there. See if I can apply it to the biggest markdown collection of markdown files that I have to date, which is on my site. Let's get into it. All right. So one of the things that got me most interested in trying this again is that just, what is this, 2 days ago, August 18th, Obsidian announced first class support for bases. So introducing bases, a new core plugin that lets you turn any set of notes into a powerful database. With bases, you can organize everything from projects to travel plans, reading lists, and more. Now, the idea here, as I understand it, is that it creates one single file that you can then interact with the you can use to like pull in markdown collections and kind of interact with them in a new way. This does kind of give you a little bit of like a CMS type of feel to it, in that you can kind of like have these presented in any way you want, but then also you have like access to this new button as well. So bases let you create custom views to visualize and interact with data in your vault. You can filter your notes by properties and create formulas to derive your own dynamic properties. Now, this I think is super cool. There's something very like something that I don't do that I absolutely should do is include open graph images for my posts. It's like one of the most important things you can do for SEO. I'm just super lazy. A lot of my posts are just like me thinking about something, keeping a note for like later times. But images are super important, and one of the things that makes validating that you have all of the right data visible immediately is just having cards with all of those pieces of data. So that's something that's interesting to me in terms of like building habit around kind of including all of those pieces of data. Drag and drop will be a really important piece of that, and I know that you can set up various drag and drop settings that would work with both, ideally work with both of my Obsidian setup and Astro. So we'll dive into that. All the data in a database is backed by your local markdown files and properties stored in a YAML file. To support bases, we're introducing the .base file format and syntax. Okay, cool. Let's just get into it and see how far we can get. I think this was generated for me when I opened the app, but let's just start over. Still getting used to these keyboard shortcuts. For some reason, like, I don't know if it's because of the way that I have my keyboard set up for holds home row mods. It just takes forever for me to actually get, like, I always miss, like the timing isn't right. I don't know if you can hear me do that. I have to like really be deliberate about it. I think it's because the way that I have home row mods set up, which a little irritating. Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, it definitely is, because the home row mods I think are like designed to like interact with a different key, and so yeah, I don't know. There's probably some setting that screws all that up. Okay, so let's get into this. We have our settings here. This is just I opened up in Obsidian the content directory of my site. Let me see if I can do that again. I think we can open up all kinds of things. Whatever. I just opened I opened up a directory in Obsidian, and that's how we're here. It happens to be the content directory, and so what we'll do is I want to create a new database. It's going to create it in the root of this directory, and so let's see. I'm going to make this for posts. That's like the most populated thing that I have. Let's do an uppercase posts as the name of this database. And I'm getting a bunch of files here. So there's 962 results. Let's see if we can filter that down. So a filter, we have all. Okay, so these are filter sets. So for this view, oh, gotcha. Okay, so this view would be just for the posts, but then I could also include something for all. So something would make sense here is, let's say that I just want where the file extension is MD. Okay, cool. So we saw a little bit of shifting there, which means that we filtered out some results, which is good. So anything that isn't an MD file isn't going to show up as a post. All right, that's a good start. Now that's a global one, so I actually do want that to apply to all of my bases. So this makes sense. But I think that I can do this let's see. So I can, if I wanted to see just the posts, I could create a file path. Let's say contains. Okay, cool. So that dropped it down to 442 results. And I think that I'm using these appropriately the way that I want to. So for any database, I just want to see Markdown. And then for this particular view, I don't know, maybe it's just talking about this view. Let's see. Let's add a view and see what happens. Okay, so we added a cards view. Interesting. And so then we have more results again. So if we go back to the table, we have fewer results. Interesting. Okay, so, and then I guess also, so I'm thinking about other rules. So another rule that I would want on global is that they not start with, so file name does not start with an underscore. Cool. All right, so I was wrong about the database and the all filter here. It looks like this is going to apply to all of the views that we have here. And then each of those views is going to have distinct filters below it. So for this one, it's looking for just posts. I go to this view. That field is still available, but it doesn't have a property in it. And maybe that's just kind of like the template for this, I guess. But yeah, so there we go. So let's, I have to actually explicitly click that little drop down thingy. Okay, so this is actually looking all right. Okay, so now when I click on that, okay, cool. So I actually get perfect. Okay, this is super helpful. So I have all these posts now. I can jump into those posts right from the database, which is really nice. Now let's see what kind of other metadata we can add to these. Okay, so first some new things. There's a new footer view core plugin. Okay, that's not okay. So I'm pretty much done with this article. So let's close this. Except now, okay, we're gonna do V to move this into its own space. There we go. Perfect. Okay, so I should be able to filter these. Now that we have a filter set that I want for these posts, I want to go into properties and see what properties we can pull out and then what we learn from those properties. Okay, so file name is actually not super useful to me right now. I'd like to go. Okay, so it looks like the I circle are fields. Yes. So it looks like the I circle are all fields that like file system type fields, or those that have been like enriched data that's been like enriched by Obsidian to some extent, but basically file system stuff like file size. Um, and then it knows about tags, but tags is also something that I've implemented on my side. Now I'm curious, does it have any notion of, so create time, file embeds, file extension, folder, full file name. So that would include, oh, that would include the suffix, file links. Now, a lot of these I don't have because I'm not like an Obsidian, or I'm like just writing markdown files for a site. So tags I do have, but those are kind of like front matter in my markdown files. Okay, so cover and cover alt could be interesting. I have a date field that I manage. Curious what this, so these are all dates. Oop. I created, no, that's interesting. So I clicked here and I like created something for that date. I think that's an Obsidian thing, where you have like you have entries for every day of your life. Okay, what other properties can we get out of here? I think some of these, oh yeah, some of these have like a handwritten TLDR. This, I believe, is my title in front matter. So this is actually, I think this is a pretty important one. I'm going to see if I can raise this to the top. How would I do that? Not having any luck. Let's see if I right click it. Okay. How do I move this up? Oh my gosh. I guess, yeah, I have to specifically grab that little icon is the drag handle for that. Okay, so now that we have the title, I don't care so much about file name. Some of these do have images, and I would actually like to use that as a cover in like a card view. So let's, okay, so TLDR, I just want to have all the data that I would need for a card view. I think this is, yeah, this is good-ish. Okay, so let's go into a new view. And here I'm going to duplicate this view because I think that if I create a new, just a brand new view, uh, it'll not keep the filters specific to this view. UI is crazy hard when you're coming into something brand new. There's like so many like idioms and like use case specific ideas. It's weird to me to have both of those in the same drop down. I understand what it's doing, but it's like it's a little bit bewildering. I kind of want them separated, like a database filter and then like individual view filters. But whatever. Okay, so let's call this. Oop. Homerow mods are killing me. Let's call this cards. We're gonna use a card style, card size, whatever. We'll just leave it at the default. Now I don't have it looks like it's not picking up any image property that we can use. Not sure why yet, but let's see. Okay, so this is our table view, cards view. Would you get all of the to get all the values? We were able to duplicate all the values, which is not duplicate. Have all the values. The filtering looks like it's still in place. We have some sorting if we want to sort by a specific property. Let's sort by. Let's sort by date. And we'll do new to old. Okay. So we got that. What's in this menu real quick? Split right. Oh, okay. So we have two views. Okay. So this is controlling the tabs, which is, again, funny placement. All of these feel like they're a layer more deeply nested than I expect them to be. Bookmark, open backlink. Okay, cool. So, okay, great. Yeah, these are all notes that I wrote like yesterday. Now we have some. I want to further filter this by having a cover. Let's see, title, description. Interesting. So I'm not. Oh yeah, cover. Okay, cool. Cover is not empty. So we're filtering just this view. I think we go back to what table? Yeah, so that it's just applying to this view. Okay. Now, in this case, I do believe that these are links to relative images. Oh. Okay. Which could be a problem because these are relative to the posts directory. So like right here, I have like this image. But posts lives kind of adjacent to those right now. Okay, let's open this back up. And I wonder if I can easily move this. So if I put this inside of posts, wonder if that would automatically fix some of the linking. Of course, now I have to friggin' find it. Where is it? PNGs. Okay, so we have our base here. Oh, maybe this was think this was a quick experimentation from the other day. Okay. Oh, this is so painful. Okay, so I want to see. So I have these, and these should link. So I think we can do. Let's see. Okay, what I want to figure out is we'll go to Obsidian changelog. Now I know it mentioned something about a schema. Or a bases syntax. Okay, cool. Okay, so Basis is a core plugin that lets you turn any set of nodes into a powerful database. With Basis, you can organize everything from projects to trouble. Okay, so we already read through that. Using the base, you can view, edit, sort, and filter files and their properties. Each base can have several views and different layouts, such as the tables and cards. Below is an example of a table view where each row is a file and each column is a property on that file. Okay. All the data in Obsidian is stored in local markdown files and their properties. The views are described by basis syntax, which can be saved as a .base file in embedded. Okay, so I'm curious if I can open up this. Where is it? Okay, so if I open it up, it's just going to open up the view, right? But I want to see if there's a way for me to view this in here. See, open Obsidian URL, open path, open default app, open a new. No, okay, none of that. None of those options help me. Okay, so let's show this in the System Explorer and then maybe open it with a different editor. The views are described by the basis syntax, which can be saved as a .base file or embedded in code blocks within markdown files. Interesting. Okay. How to use bases. Create a base. Functions and base syntax. Okay, so create a base. We've done a lot of this already, I think. In the vertical ribbon menu, select create new base. Yep, okay, we did that. Embed a base. You can embed base files in any other file using a bang square bracket file base syntax. To specify the default view, use this. So embed base as a code block. Okay, interesting. Okay, cool. So that's the basic of creating views. We've explored a little bit about this, but I think here is where we're going to get into images. Okay, cards support an optional cover image, which is property, which is a property that's displayed as an image in the top of the card. The property can be any of the following: a link to a local attachment. So this uses that. I can't remember what the name of that syntax is. Link syntax. I don't remember. Not typical Markdown though. Sometimes there's like a Markdown variant you can use. So an external URL or a hex code. That's interesting. Image fit. If you have an image property configured, this option will determine how the image should be displayed on the card cover. The image fills the card's context box, okay, etc. We don't have a plan for that just yet. Image aspect ratio, etc. So these are filters. Okay, so let's see if we can just get this working first. I'm going to move this away right now. All right, so I have this card right here. Let's look at this image syntax and see what we need to do. Link to local attachment. Now, the question that I have is, what is this relative to? So if I change the syntax, okay, I got an idea. If I do 2 openings, it's going to give me some options, right? I can go into posts. Where was that? Dash. Okay, so beginner's guide to Storybook 7 with React, and then React PNG. Okay, so we've linked that. Great. Okay. So using the syntax, it's been linked. Now let's go back to the base. Where are you, base? Okay, posts base. Okay. Now it's linked. And so if we go into our cards view, which theoretically I can swap these, so that's the default now. If we're going to go cards view, I can go into settings. Select the cover property. Oh, okay. So I just did it wrong, apparently, beforehand. So let's do cover like that. Okay, cool. So all of these show up as is once I've gotten the right property selected. So this is interesting. I'm curious about this difference. So I'm gonna run an experiment where I assume pretty strongly that if I change the directory that this lives in, that all of these will break because they're relative. I can't be 100% sure until I do it. So we're just gonna do this. We'll pull this. Can we scroll? How do we do this? This is a very small target. Actually, I think we might be closer to the bottom. This is what I hate about using UI sometimes. Okay, we're going to pull this out into the root of this, this content directory, and see how we fare. Okay, I'll close that. Now I can't do anything. Trying to open this base. There we go. Okay, so it seems to work. Let's find out what the difference is between these styles of linking. Okay. In Obsidian, are there important differences? Usually I would just text-to-speech this, but I don't have any text-to-speech stuff set up at the moment. If there's a good text-to-speech recommendation out there for the omarchy Linux setup, let me know, because I would love to have that for this type of thing. Are there important differences between linking syntaxes? Syntax for images in front matter. Trying to obtain syntax that works in both Obsidian and my Astro build. Now, hopefully the answer will come up something with like talking about like relative files, markdown files, as well as that like double bracket syntax. Okay, short answer, yes. Yes, Obsidian's wiki link image syntax, which we have right there, is different from standard markdown and YAML paths, and will not behave the same as build and Astro. For maximum compatibility, use plain file path strings in front matter and standard markdown image links in the note body. Avoid Obsidian-like wiki links in front matter. Okay. Why and what to use. So Obsidian, in the note body, Obsidian supports both wiki links style and standard markdown images. In YAML front matter, Obsidian treats it as YAML. WikiLink's syntax is not native YAML and may not be resolved. At best, is a string containing brackets. At worst, it breaks tooling. Okay. Astro static builds. They expect standard YAML or JSON front matter and standard markdown or HTML image source values. They don't know about Obsidian WikiLink resolution. Depending on how you bundle image paths in front matter or plain strings that either use as is image source, etc. Okay, cool. All of that is kind of up for debate. It does what it does right now, but I'm open to whatever. I prefer relative paths just because theoretically it'll support the most local tooling like this, but I don't know. Recommended cross-compatible patterns. Use a plain relative path string in your YAML front matter. Okay. Examples. Yes. Okay. So we've gotten that. Use that path when rendering in Astro source. Okay. Example body displays nicely in Obsidian and is valid markup for Astro. If you need the front matter. Okay, cool. It looks like we're good on this, I think. Okay, cool. So just to be safe, though, I'm gonna let's see, where are our window options here? How do I fully quit this? I guess just close it. I don't know. I'm still getting used to that. Okay, so we moved the file. It still seems to work. Okay, cool. That's fine. I'm gonna do a screen capture real quick. I don't have a print key yet on this keyboard, so or sysrec, whatever you would call it. I don't have one of those yet, so I have to do it through the menu, which is silly. So we'll do a region. We'll just collect this cross section right here. I just want to have something that I can drag and drop. Okay, so this is in home chan pictures. I'd like to now open a random How do I open this post? Oh my gosh. I guess I have to have I have to have the file name one because that's the only one that gets special treatment. Okay, so it's the only one that's linked apparently. I wonder if that's something I'd fix. Okay, so we have this, and if I wanted to add a cover property, I want to see what it would look like to add something from my file system. So I think it was in pictures. We have a little screenshot here. I drop that. Where does it go? Are you sure you want to open this link? Okay, so it puts a whole ass file system link in there, which will work, but not ideal for my builds. Always open file links in the future. Yeah, I'm good with that. Okay, so it opened it. Let's try that again. Okay, so it just opened it. That's weird. What if I drop it into the body? Okay, this is more reasonable. I need to see where it put that. So let's go into sites. Actually, we need to do it. Get. Okay, so we added the cover property to that file. We added this in post. Where is the file? Okay, source content posts screenshot. Okay, so it looks like it dropped it into the right place. And I wonder if that's because of the way these databases are set up. So I have this database. Does it have anything about path? Page preview, tag name. I don't see anything. Okay, so if we've added that file, I want to copy this and paste it here. I'm going to use a relative path just because that's how I know my build system needs that. And then we'll delete that from here. Okay, now let's go back into our database, and we're in our cards view. And we're having a little bit of a problem. Because we're already in posts. So this added, it put it in the post directory, but then it added the path based on, I assume its location, which is relative to posts. So let's see what happens if we go back out again to databases. Okay, cool. So now we have that connection drawn up. Okay, now I drug that into posts. Let's go to settings and see how these URLs are handled. So files and links, confirm file deletion, delete files, automatically add internal links, turn off to be prompted to update links after renaming a file. Default location for new notes, new link formats. Let's change this to relative path to file. Default location for new attachments. In folder specified below, in subfolder under current folder. I think this is how I had it before. If your file is under Vault folder and you set subfolder name to attachments will be saved as, okay. Now let's do this. In folder specified below, same as current folder. Okay, let's try that. Let's actually, this is interesting. Let's rebuild this cache. Okay, cool. It looks like the images still stayed, which was my biggest question. Let's try this again. Let's try dragging in a file again and see how the URL is affected. Okay, so this is just in screenshots. Okay, and so that puts it as a parallel file, which I think is what we want, but I'd actually like this to be renamed to match the file. Let's do that. Make sure I'm in the right place still. File recovery, note composer, etc. Files and links. Let's see, new link format relative to path, use wiki style. Advanced. Okay, so it doesn't look like we have an option here, at least, to rename those files. Backlinks, canvas, command palette, daily notes, file recovery, note composer, templates, template folder location. Okay, so this is just templates. General. Files, links. These are just plugins, which we turn on and off. Okay, cool. Interesting. So that might be all the control that we get, sadly. So if I drop this in again, I can open. And can we reveal this? No. This is going to be, what was it? It was a screenshot. QRST. QR. Oh my gosh. It shouldn't take me 5 minutes to find this. We should be seeing like, oh, here we go, PNG. Okay, so all of these are right here, just named screenshot. I know there's got to be there's got to be a way. There's got to be a way that we can rename these on upload. Maybe I'm thinking about VS Code, which I know for sure has a way that you can do this. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Okay. How do I look for files here? Is that open? Open. Yeah. So what was that? Literally can't remember what post it was. Okay, so we're now in here. I think that we can do one better at least, which would be to what we do, put them all in attachments. So files and folders. So we can, there was a same as current folder in a folder specified below. So we can put all of them in a single directory if we wanted to. I think that, does that give us attachment folder path? Still doesn't give us control over the name. Okay, so something I want to know is, can I use templates for the subfolder name? Actually, let me just type this. Setting the default location for new attachments. Is it possible to create a new directory with the same file name and place attachments there? If so, is there a way to reset the file? Set the attachment name. Obviously, the attachment name is less important as long as they're isolated by some kind of directory. It would be nice to have them be the same name, but if I was doing like a just fuzzy find search, I would still be able to see all of them. And theoretically, in most cases, I'm going to be accessing them through linking. Yeah. Okay. Can automatically create a subfolder named after the note, the new attachment. Okay, so open settings file links, default location, and choose a folder specified below. Okay, in a folder specified below, in the same folder as the active file, and with the subfolder option, wording varies by version. Okay. Yeah, let's do that. And then I guess it's gonna, I imagine, tell us to use a template at some point. Enable the option that says something like put new attachments in the subfolder. Yep. Okay. We'll create a folder named exactly like the root file. Okay. How to control the attachments name? Okay. So if I just leave it blank, what happens? Okay, so it names that attachments by default. So the last one we did, it just put it right into the same directory. This one it put into the generic attachments. Okay. Let's see what else we got. Okay, so we have an attachment file name format. You can supply a pattern so Obsidian generates names according to the template instead of the default. Typical tokens include date, time, Oops. Date time, etc. Many installs let you use the note title token, often called title or name, and a counter to avoid collision. So examples would be title counter would be okay. That's actually exactly what I want. Okay, so in this case, actually, I don't necessarily even need them in a folder at all if I can filter them out both in this view and inside of, yeah, so I don't need a folder. So I guess technically I want them in the same folder. But I can't change the name. Okay. I see. All right, so we're gonna have we'll use the title, and we'll use the title again with a counter. Let's see how that holds. Oh my gosh. Oh, right. There's a Vim mode, and I'm in it. Okay. Moment of truth. That didn't work at all. Okay, exact token names and formatting options depend on city and version. However, okay, so can rename files manually. Okay, so this is absolutely 100% not what I want. Now, it did say to use the quotes, so maybe I'm off base by not having the quotes in there. Let's try that. Nope, same thing. Let's go to the Obsidian docs. What time is it? All right, I'm gonna wrap up pretty soon. Obsidian docs, blogs, changelog, help. Do we have docs here? Curious. Okay. Vault folder and specific folder. Let's try this one. Oh, okay. So it looks like maybe I had the wrong option selected. So this will be posts, unless it's just auto-filling what I had before. Okay, so with the in a folder specified below option, when I hit post, it started giving me some options. So let's get rid of this. Okay, moment of truth. No. Interesting. I'd love a search here. Why can't I find search? Community. Okay. Let's see. So I'll say these template options aren't working as expected. Seeing literal template characters used in the file name. Attachment file field accepts template tokens like that and that. But if you're seeing the literal characters, it means the tokens aren't being expanded. Common causes and issues. Quick checks. Do this first. Don't wrap the template in quotes. Okay, so we've done it both ways. Make sure you're editing the right settings in file. Oh, okay. Files and links. Attachments, file name. Oh, we're only seeing attachments folder path. And subfolder name. Actually not seeing that as an option. So I'm not seeing that field as an option. Only attachment folder path and subfolder name. That explains it. Recent Obsidian builds expose different attachment settings. Yep, as we expected. Your Obsidian version or platform doesn't include built-in attachment file name format control. The feature has changed across releases or common. Okay, plugin common community plugin is overriding or simplifying file. Okay, what to do next? Okay. If you want template file names, but don't see the field in core, install the community plugin that provides file names. Okay, so let's look at the plugins, I guess. Core plugins, audio recorder. That sounds cool. Seems cool. Format converter, convert Markdown from other apps to Obsidian format. Publish, host your notes. Random note, open a random note to discover or review. Interesting. Slash commands, trigger commands in editor by using / key slides. Create presentations using dash to separate slides. That's also cool. Sync. Unique note creator. Web viewer. Workspaces. So we're not seeing anything. Community plugins that provide file name templates. Popular choices are file name templates, provide template-driven names for new files and attachments. Attachment management, or similarly named plugin, offer more control over where attachments go. And templater. All right, so let's enable community plugins. Okay, template file name. What does this look like? Last updated 4 months ago. So create notes with templated file names using date formats, random strings, and custom base strings, etc. Template file name and Obsidian plugin for creating notes with template file names. Okay, cool. Create notes. Okay, does it have access to title? So unique identifiers and timestamps. Counter. Okay, so we have a counter. Text formatting, lowercase text. Doesn't look like we have access to the title of the document that it's being put into. So that's a bit unfortunate. Let's see, what was the other one? Attachment. So there's attachment manager and attachment management. Looks like attachment management is more frequently downloaded and updated more recently. So that might be a better starting point. Oh, shoot, what did I do? This plugin supports more flexibly setting your attachment location with variables like note path, note name. Okay, I think that's what I need. There we go. Okay, so I don't want to go through this whole song and dance. That sucks. Man, this is just not ideal. All right, so let's turn these off again. Let's find out what did we learn. Okay, wrap it up, and then we'll call it a day. So what did we learn? So we learned that we can create these new databases. These databases are just a file, which is kind of nice. I can exclude that from my build pipeline for my website. And from here, I can create different views and filter them. This section up here, the all views, is going to persist across the views. And then we have this section right here, which is going to be just specific to each individual view. So the filters will change depending on which view that I am in. I can use properties to add and remove properties from these cards or the list items, which is nice. Looks like there's a formula thing here that we did not get into, so maybe for another time. And then obviously we can sort, which is super cool. These databases are just files, which is really nice. And so I can create a database for each one of these files. Here, to get these covers, I just need to set the, what is it? Oop, go into here and set the image property, and then the image, kind of like how I want the image to be presented with both the ratio and the fit, cover, or contain. So once we have that, once we have the right property, we can use either the wiki style links, or we can use these relative style links relative to, it looks like the document, because they're all still working, even though posts is at the root of this this content directory. So the relative links seem to work despite not linking properly. And I don't know if maybe it's just because this is text. If I change this to, yeah, no, I can't change it to a link explicitly. Yeah, so these are just text. I'm not able to link directly to that. So that's a bit of a shame. That feels a little bit like a little weird in my particular setup. Okay, so once we have that though, everything seems ready to go. We can, that was weird. We can drag and drop files not into the properties, but we can drag them here. We have a level of control over them in the files and links section. Here, where we can say, what is it for? The default location of new attachments, we can kind of put them in a vault, in the root of the vault folder. We can put them in a specific folder, which we name, which defaults to attachments. It doesn't look like we get any templating in here, so it's literally just going to be attachments or a specific name that we have for all of them. And we can't really do any renaming. So the name of the file, if it's like screenshot, with the date, that's how it's going to be. We can put things in a subdirectory, but again, I'm not able to template that out at the moment. So right now I'm just going to do in same folder as current, so that I'll like put it as a parallel. And then I guess I'll just like rename it and relink it, which is a little, or just rename it before I drag and drop in, which is fine, I guess. Yeah, so that's it. Other than that, it seems generally to work well. I think if I had more time, I would go into setting up a node environment, so I could actually run this, commit it, and then send it to the internet and make sure that everything's linked up the way that it is supposed to be. And I might save that for another time. We can do environments like tomorrow or Friday or something. Yeah, that's it for today. All right, see ya. Bye.